A lonely widower's incredible ACT revealed her hidden beauty. A touching life-changing love story. Jack Thompson awoke each day draped in a heavy cloak of loneliness, the kind that wraps around you like an old, tattered blanket. The once vibrant flower garden that used to burst with color under Mary's care now seemed to echo his silence. The sweet scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the air of Maplewood, mingling with memories of laughter, love, and a life built together. But now, it was just him and the roses blooming yet bittersweet. Everyone in town had their routines, but Jack felt like a ghost haunting the bakery's empty tables, the vibrant community parties filling him with joy but leaving him emptier still. He remembered how Mary loved to bake, how her cakes and cookies drew smiles from their neighbors. And with her gone, the heart of that sweetness fell silent. The old bakery, once bustling with life under Sarah Lark's watchful eye, was now in danger, like a candle flickering in the wind. As he trimmed the roses that summer evening, memories flooded back. He could almost hear Mary's teasing tone, "You, Jack. A baker? You'd burn water." But as he rummaged through the old recipe cards, a spark ignited. He discovered something he never knew: he had an affinity for baking. Perhaps, just perhaps, he could revive what had once flourished. The next morning, swept by an unexpected wave of determination, Jack marched to where Sarah stood behind the counter, tightening her apron. "Let me help you," he blurted out, his heart racing, and she looked at him, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. At first, she chuckled, perhaps picturing him wrestling with flour like a toddler, but something in her softened. She saw beyond his grief into a glimmer of hope, and so began their journey in the cramped bakery, laughter intertwining with the aroma of yeast and sugar. Flour filled the air as Jack rolled his sleeves up, pouring in his memories of Mary's kitchen, mixing them with Sarah's passion. Together, they created delightful confections that felt like tiny acts of rebellion against the world's pressure. Jack admired Sarah's energy, her strength mixing with everything they made. Just when the sweetness of life seemed within reach, a storm loomed. Whispers on the street spoke of a businessman planning to buy the bakery, stripping it of its soul for profit. Jack's heart sank at the thought: how could they let that happen? The bakery was a beloved entity, the heartbeat of their community. And now it needed them both. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Standing side by side, Jack faced a choice that pulsed like the beating heart of Maplewood. Should he fight for the something beautiful they had just started building, or step back into the shadows of his grief? The urgency bubbled around them as supportive voices crescendoed from their neighbors, rallying behind the bakery. Their bakery, tension hung thick like sweet frosting poised precariously on a knife's edge. Jack could sense that whatever was about to unfold could change not just the bakery's fate, but his, and Sarah's, too. As a storm brewed both outside and in their hearts, they took a crucial step forward. Would they transcend their pasts to embrace a shared destiny? Jack stood there, the fate of the bakery resting on his shoulders. It felt surreal, like standing at the edge of a cliff, the world below spinning in chaos. He looked at Sarah, her eyes bright with determination, and he felt a flicker of hope. "What do we do?" he asked, voice steady despite the storm within. Sarah took a breath, her fingers tapping nervously on the counter. "We fight. We need a plan to show everyone what this bakery means to us and the community." The words sparked something deep inside Jack. He remembered every person who had walked through those doors, every birthday cake they had made, the smiles of the children who pressed their noses against the glass display. It wasn't just a bakery, it was a home, a gathering place, a kitchen for the town's heart. "Let us organize an event," Jack proposed, surprising himself. "A baking competition. We'll invite everyone. Show them what we can do." A wide smile broke across Sarah's face, lighting up her features. "That's brilliant. We can showcase our best recipes, and the community can vote for their favorites. It'll bring everyone together. As they began brainstorming, excitement seeped through Jack's heart like warm dough rising under the warmth of the sun. They planned every detail, the decorations, the ingredients, and the judges. Hours melted away as they laughed, their banter becoming a comfortable rhythm. This felt right, like the pieces of a long-broken puzzle finally coming together. The days leading up to the event were a blur of flour, sugar, and camaraderie. Neighbors began to rally around them, some offering to help decorate while others donated ingredients or volunteered to judge. Slowly, the bakery transformed. But the shadow of the businessmen lingered, undeterred by their plans. Jack caught whispers at the diner, murmurs of someone scheming under the guise of progress. It made his stomach churn, a gnawing worry overshadowing the joy bubbling inside him. Could they really save it? As the evening of the baking competition arrived, the sweet aroma of freshly baked goods wafted through Maplewood. Jack burst into the bakery, his heart racing as he took in the scene. Colorful banners hung from the ceiling, tables adorned with treats, and people embracing the moment. His eyes found Sarah, who stood at the entrance, vitality radiating from her like the warm glow of an oven. She wore an apron and a bright smile, her hair whipped into a playful bun. It was in that moment Jack recognized that he was not fighting alone. They were a team tethered by their passion and purpose. Just as the event began, the doors swung open. A tall man in an expensive suit entered, scanning the room. It was him, the businessman. Jack's heart sank. Uncertainty clawed at his throat. He could sense the unease ripple through the crowd as eyes turned toward the newcomer. Jack clenched his fists, feeling the quickening pulse of his resolve. He knew what they had built in the bakery, the bridge they had created from shared sorrow to renewed joy, and he wasn't ready to let it go. "Come on, everyone," he called out, raising his voice to break the tension in the room. "Let us show him what Maplewood is made of." Cheers erupted, and the first contestants took to the stage, aligning sparkling cakes and decadent cookies on the tables. Laughter echoed, and with each round, Jack felt the weight lift. But as rounds turned into a cacophony of excitement and applause, the man took a step forward, his expression somber. "I didn't come here for a show," he declared, voice slicing through the joy. "I'm here to make an offer." The laughter dimmed, and Jack's heart raced. What was the offer? Would it tear apart the community they had just pulled together? As the words hung in the air, Jack prepared to stand his ground. He would not let this man take away the new life he had found. Not now, not ever. "Wait," he said, voice firm and steady. "Before we hear you out, let me tell you what this bakery truly means to us." The moment stretched like dough under pressure, filled with potential. Jack's heart thrummed with urgency as he took a deep breath, ready to fight for his new family, the bakery itself, and his own chance to heal. Jack straightened up, the warmth of the bakers and community surrounding him seeping into his veins. He could feel the pulse of the bakery, the laughter, the hope, the love. It was all too real. "Sir," he began, looking straight at the businessman, "this bakery isn't just a place to buy bread and pastries. This is where we find joy. It's where the children laugh during story time. It's where we share life's sweetest moments." He took a step closer, the crowd shifting to give him space. "Just last week, a few of us gathered here for a cooking class. We laughed, we shared ideas, and we felt connected. You can't put a price on that. This bakery is our heart." The man in the suit shifted uncomfortably, but Jack pressed on, the words flowing with conviction. "People come in here tired and leave with smiles, comforted by the smell of freshly baked goods. It's a refuge." Jack glanced back at Sarah and the familiar faces of the townsfolk slowly nodding, their eyes filled with encouragement. Tonight is about more than baking. It's about coming together as a community to celebrate each other. And we're not ready to let our dreams slip away because of someone looking to profit from our passion. A ripple of applause broke out in the room, fueled by shared sentiment. Jack could feel the energy building, the atmosphere thickening with unity. As he looked around, the baking competition transformed into an echo of their stories, all the moments that had stitched their lives together. The businessman arched an eyebrow, clearly taken aback by the unexpected wave of emotion. "I didn't realize this meant so much to you," he conceded, his voice softer but still poised. "However, I could propose a way to expand your operation." "No," Jack interrupted, the urgency bubbling over. "We don't want to expand into something sterile and commercialized. We want to keep our community at the center of this place. That is the promise." The murmur around the room grew, voices rising in unison behind him. There was power in the connectivity of everyone present. The love spilled out on the tables in the form of whipped cream, cupcakes, and pie. Just then, an older woman from the back of the room stood up, her eyes glistening. "Jack's right. This bakery isn't just flour and sugar. It's memories, it's tradition. It celebrates who we are." Everyone began to stand, echoing their support. Jack felt tears welling up, mixing joy and relief, seeing their gathered family ready to fight. The businessman shifted his weight, visibly caught in the swell of emotion and defiance. "I see you all care, but you must understand my intention. Your intention doesn't concern us." Sarah piped up, stepping beside Jack with fire in her eyes. "What you see as a business opportunity, we see as our lifeline. We will not be bought." People nodded, raising their baked creations, a united front of resistance and pride. As the atmosphere buzzed, the Jishi businessmen stood for a moment longer, scanning the faces, digging deep, trying to comprehend their tenacity. Jack's heart thudded, waiting for the next words to tumble from his lips. Could he be convinced to back off? Could they truly save the bakery? In the silence that followed, heavy and thick, Jack took a step back, glancing at Sarah. There was so much at stake, but it was here, in this moment, that he felt strong. Finally, the businessman cleared his throat, ready to speak again. "Perhaps," he said slowly, almost thoughtfully. "Perhaps we need to consider what the future holds for both parties involved." The crowd leaned in, hanging on his words, hungry for hope or a resolution. Jack's stomach twisted. What would the businessman propose next? Would it split their community or bind them closer? "Perhaps," the businessman continued, raising his hand slightly as if to quell the gathering storm of emotions. "Perhaps we can find a middle ground. What if I help you improve your reach here and in neighboring towns while preserving the spirit of your bakery?" A wave of murmurs swept through the room. Skepticism and hope wrestled within Jack. Could they really trust this man? "I know what you're thinking," the businessman addressed the crowd, his demeanor shifting to a more congenial tone. "Change is terrifying, but collaboration can lead to greater things. Just imagine a bakery that not only preserves tradition but also grows with the times, attracting more visitors. You could host events, expand the cooking classes, become a cornerstone of this town and others." Jack, feeling the heat of doubt mixing with the warmth of encouragement, stepped forward again. "What does that really mean for us? Does it mean changing our recipes? Our soul?" His heart raced at the thought, anxious whispers now enveloping the bakery. The businessman hesitated, searching for words. "No, it doesn't have to. It could just mean a little branding, maybe an online platform." "Branding?" Sarah's voice rang out sharp and clear. "You mean stripping our identity for some corporate image?" "Look, I see value in your community dynamics," the businessman continued, unfazed. "But without growth, without change, you risk losing everything. Sometimes you need to adapt to survive." The crowd diverged, some nodding thoughtfully while others responded with angry protests. Jack felt the distance between the two worlds, the corporate and the communal, stretching wider. The tension in the air was electric. An older man, Mr. Thompson, stood up slowly, his hands trembling at his sides. "You don't understand," he said, his voice quavering. "This isn't just some business venture. When my wife passed, I came here every day. This bakery is what kept me going. It's more than growth, it's memories. It's love." Jack felt a lump rise in his throat. He knew that feeling, the loneliness that wrapped around you tighter than any embrace. The room was filled not just with baked goods, but with shared memories and emotional scars. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson," Jack said softly. "That's exactly it. It may be hard to see, but we prioritize the heart over profit. We want to hold on to this essence, not package it for trend's sake." The businessman inhaled deeply, perhaps sensing the weight of their stories. "I understand. I really do. But you must acknowledge that the world is changing. People want convenience. You can't just stay stagnant." "Then we adapt," Jack urged, a spark igniting within him. "But we do it our way, not by sacrificing the love that's poured into every loaf, every cake. We can find our own way to grow that incorporates our community spirit." As murmurs of agreement washed over the crowd, the businessman seemed caught off guard. Was he expecting a battlefield? Or was he searching for an ally? The silence spun between them, thick with possibilities. Would he concede, or was this just a form of resistance? Just then, a small voice piped up from the back of the room. "Can we hold a vote?" It was a little girl, holding a plate of cookies. She looked around, her gaze earnest. "We should decide together, like we always do." Laughter broke the tension, but it also opened a door to a new idea. Jack's heart warmed. Could that innocent suggestion somehow sway the businessman or provide a path forward? "Maybe a vote is a good start," the businessman said, eyes shifting thoughtfully between the crowd's yearning faces. As the crowd buzzed with anticipation, Jack realized that the decision they were about to make could redefine their future. Would they gamble on trust and unity, or would they fall prey to fear? The stakes rose higher than ever as Jack braced himself for the outcome, wondering if their bond would hold them together against a world eager for change. The chatter in the bakery crescendoed into a palpable hum as the crowd processed the little girl's proposal. It was as if her innocent suggestion had unlocked a door, and everyone stood ready to step through. Jack felt a knot of uncertainty twist in his stomach. Would a vote cement their collective desires, or would it expose a rift that could never be repaired? "All right, let us gather our thoughts," Jack called out, raising his voice to hold the room's attention. "We need to figure out what we want. If this man is here to help us, let us tell him exactly what that means." Mr. Thompson nodded, his brow furrowing in concentration. "Let us make a list. What are our non-negotiables?" Jack took a deep breath. "First and foremost, we keep our recipes. No changes to the heart of what we do. Our baked goods tell our stories." The crowd murmured in agreement, a gentle wave of solidarity that spurred him on. "And we want to preserve the bakery's atmosphere," Sarah chimed in. "This is a gathering place, a home away from home for so many of us." "Yes," someone shouted from the back. "The warmth, the laughter, the aroma of fresh bread. That's what makes this place special." As the list began to take shape, excitement and anxiety battled within Jack. It felt empowering to write down their values, but he could sense the businessmen watching with growing impatience from the sidelines. Would he accept these terms? Or would he dismiss their heartfelt plea as mere nostalgia? Once the list was complete, Jack turned to the businessmen. "You've heard our concerns. If we're going to vote, we need to know your response. Will you agree to these terms?" The businessman shifted, taking a moment to absorb the warmth radiating from the crowd versus the chill of corporate expectations that had accompanied him here. "I can appreciate your attachment to tradition," he finally said, his voice steady, "but please understand that to expand, we may need a certain level of compromise. I want to help, but I need your trust as well." "Trust goes both ways," Jack replied, feeling his palms dampen. "If you want our trust, show us. Help us develop our events without changing who we are at our core." A whisper of unease rippled through the crowd, each face reflecting a blend of hope and skepticism. The little girl clutched her plate of cookies, her wide eyes full of anticipation. This tiny, sacred space had always been about more than just baked goods. It was the memories, the gathering of souls, weaving their stories together through each loaf and pastry. "All right," Jack finally said, looking around at the familiar faces in the room. "Let us take a vote. But remember, this is about preserving the essence of the bakery. Let us stand united." Everyone huddled together, creating an impromptu circle. Jack's heart thudded as he felt the collective heartbeat of the group, strengthened by their shared determination. As they marked their ballots, Jack closed his eyes for a brief moment, imagining a future where the bakery blossomed yet remained true to its roots. The smell of fresh bread leaching out into the streets, laughter and warmth surrounding the space, and the sounds of families gathering, with the votes cast, an unfamiliar tension filled the room. It wasn't just a question of numbers but of soul. Would they hold on to what they loved most or risk it all? When the businessmen lifted the first slip of paper, Jack felt his breath catch. Would their hopes emerge victorious, or would the tide of change sweep them away? With the outcome hanging in the air like a thick fog, they held their breath, all eyes fixed on the man with the slips of paper. His next words could shatter their dreams or illuminate a path forward. "What did we decide?" he asked, voice low. As he flipped the paper over, the room collectively exhaled, the tension morphing into a question that hung heavy in the air. Were they ready for the answer that awaited them? The businessman paused, holding the slip of paper like a fragile truce in his hands. Jack could see the muscles in his jaw tighten. It was agonizingly slow, the moments stretching out like shadows in the fading afternoon light. The warmth of the bakery felt as though it were being suffocated by a thick blanket of uncertainty. Finally, Mr. Thompson cleared his throat. "Well? What does it say?" His voice was steady, but Jack could hear the edge of anxiety creeping in. "I have to admit," the businessman hesitated. "The vote was overwhelmingly in favor of keeping the identity and essence of this bakery." A soft murmur passed through the crowd, a mixture of relief and surprise washing over them like a gentle wave. But he continued, a crack of hesitation in his tone. "It won't work without some compromise on both sides. Growth requires flexibility." Jack's heart sank. He had feared this moment, this looming threat of trade-offs. A brave face emerged in him as he took a step forward. "We don't want to lose what makes us us. But we are open to exploring ways to grow together, without losing our soul." The crowd buzzed with murmurs again, sparks of both hope and concern. At that moment, he spotted the little girl, her hands still clasped around her plate of cookies, eyes shiny and hopeful. How could they risk this space where dreams and little joys coalesced into the heart of their community? "Maybe we can start small," Sarah piped up again. "We could hold events that feature our recipes, our flavors. Like a bake-off or a community day." "Yes!" someone shouted from the back, igniting a fire of enthusiasm. "Let us show what we can do while remaining true to ourselves. We want to share this joy." Jack felt energy pulse through the room, each idea transforming fear into action. They were beginning to fight for their bakery, their community, together. It was a ripple effect of fellowship that seemed as delicious as the pastries they served. As the ideas flowed, the businessman observed, his expression shifting from skepticism to intrigue. "Perhaps there's potential if we start working hand in hand," he said slowly, the stiffness in his posture relaxing just a notch. "If we can ensure the events embody your spirit, I'll support your vision." It was as if a small explosion of unity erupted in the bakery. Friends squeezed each other's hands, laughter bubbled up like the smell of fresh dough rising in the oven. Jack felt hope igniting a flame in his heart, a real possibility that something beautiful could emerge from this uncertainty, yet deep down, a tiny voice nagged at him. What if their efforts weren't enough? What if the businessmen's interests overshadowed their traditions? Would they be able to hold on to everything they cherished, even when faced with the tides of change? Just then, the little girl tugged on his sleeve with bright curiosity. "What if we allow new flavors, just for one day?" she asked innocently. "Like a cupcake day. Everyone can share something new." The suggestion hung in the air, its innocence folding over the conversations, bringing forth laughter and further ideas. Jack smiled, his heart swelling with warmth. Could this be their way to bridge the gap? But as they continued brainstorming, he couldn't shake the lingering doubt that flickered behind the joy in the room. Was a single day of celebration enough to ensure they preserved their legacy? Or would it open the floodgates to changes they were not ready for? As the sun dipped lower outside, the glow of the bakery brightened. Yet still, the question loomed larger than life, waiting for the answers that could change everything. What price would they have to pay to embrace a new beginning? The chatter in the bakery rose to a jovial crescendo as ideas flew about like confetti. Jack felt the atmosphere shift from doom to delight. People were animated, their voices buoyed by the prospect of insurrection against the looming threat of change. Yet beneath the surface of this celebration, Jack's worries simmered. With a newfound determination, he turned to the businessman. We could even put together special recipe cards that tell the story of each dish. Bring our history to life. His own heart raced at the idea, the prospect breathing vitality into a collective dream dynamo. Thompson adjusted his glasses, eyes sparkling with curiosity. I like that, it adds layers. A connection, if you will. He nodded contemplatively, and for a moment, a sense of trust began to form. It felt as if they were all picking up the pieces of their bakery's identity together. Despite the uncertainties that lingered, Jack caught Sarah's gaze. She returned a confident smile, lighting up the room. This wasn't just a fight, it was an opportunity for everyone to discover the deeper meanings behind their beloved bakery. One by one, more voices joined the chorus. Let us create a memory wall. A place where visitors can pin their stories and experiences about the bakery. Or what about inviting local musicians to play during our events? Make it a day of laughter and joy. The ideas began to spiral into a delightful whirlwind. Laughter rang out during the discussions, and children frolicked underfoot as if the vibrations of hope had given birth to sweet chaos. But amidst the revelry, Jack could feel the gnawing worry creeping back. As the bakery grew increasingly popular, would they still hold on to the warmth? Would new faces erase the familiarity that wrapped around them like a beloved quilt? Every change comes with a price, he murmured quietly to himself, lost in thought. The little girl with her plate of cookies sidled up beside him again, looking up with wide eyes. Mr. Jack. Can I help run the cupcake day? She asked, her voice eager and sweet that a smile broke through his furrowing brow. You want to be in charge? He teased gently. Yeah. I think we should have a special cupcake. One that tells our story. He chuckled and nodded, feeling lighter. That's a great idea. We could name it the Heart of the Bakery. It could have all our favorite flavors mixed together. Suddenly, the enthusiasm of the room sparkled with a new intensity again. But it wasn't just cupcakes they were concocting. It was a lifeline to everything they feared losing. As the discussions rolled on, Jack realized that each brainstorming session brought them not just closer to a future, but also deeper into each other's stories. Still, doubts flickered at the fringes of his mind. Even with promising moments, was this newfound momentum strong enough to stand against the storm? The culmination of excitement was palpable when Mr. Thompson finally spoke. All right then, let us draft a plan and see where this spirit takes us. This is your bakery. I want to support you. The collective sigh of relief echoed around the room as if a weight had lifted. But with that weight gone, new responsibilities emerged, managing the balance between nostalgia and innovation. Jack looked around at the faces illuminated by hope, and the high spirits filled him with conflicting emotions. Would they be strong enough to hold their collective spirit in place while welcoming change? As the evening stretched into night, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the biggest challenge was still ahead. With glowing hearts and minds full of dreams, they all stood at the precipice of something new. But as they sealed their plans with excitement, Jack's heart raced with uncertainty. Could they really make this work? Or would they lose themselves along the way? The laughter continued, but Jack's thoughts drifted to the challenges waiting just around the corner. Tomorrow would arrive, bringing all their ideas off the page and into reality, and with it, trepidation and hope in equal measures. The sun broke through the bakery's front windows the next morning, bathing the room in a golden glow that danced over flour-dusted tables and trays of pastries. Jack moved through the familiar space, the sweet aroma of coffee and baked goods filling his lungs. Yet, despite the warmth, a chill tightened around his chest, reminding him of the uncertainty that lay ahead. Today was the day they would bring those fiery ideas to life. His heart raced as he gathered the team, each member buzzing with excitement. Sarah stood by the giant chalkboard, her hands covered in rainbow-colored chalk as she sketched a draft for the memory wall. "What do you think? We could paint some frames around the stories, make it festive." She glanced up with a hopeful smile that made Jack's worries momentarily fade. "Looks great," he responded, trying to match her enthusiasm. As he watched the team rally together, he couldn't help but feel the weight of expectation. Everyone was looking to him for guidance. Would they really be able to create something magical while staying true to the essence of their bakery? The door jingled, pulling Jack from his thoughts. A customer entered, a young couple filled with energy, already chatting excitedly about the upcoming cupcake day. Jack noticed that their enthusiasm sparked something similar in him. Those little moments of joy fed into the discussions, and he could feel a flicker of hope igniting in his heart, but just as quickly, doubt crept back in. What if the changes alienated their regulars? What if this became more about profit than passion? Just as Jack was about to ponder further, the little girl from yesterday bounced over, clutching a notebook covered in stickers. "Mr. Jack! Look at all the cupcake flavors I came up with." She flipped through her drawings enthusiastically, her eyes shining with pride. "We could have a chocolate chip cookie cupcake, and one with sprinkles that tastes like summer." Her innocence washed over Jack like a breath of fresh air. "Those sound amazing. I love how you're capturing the heart of what we're trying to do. Can I add some notes?" The girl grinned widely as she handed him the notebook. Jack filled in suggestions, and with every stroke of the pen, an idea began to blossom. He could visualize the colorful treats lined up, each telling a unique story of the bakery's past and present. As they delved deeper into the plans, more customers trickled in, drawn to the vibrations of creativity. Jack noticed conversations buzzed about the bakery's history, shared memories swirling around like sweetness in the air. It was clear that this was more than just about cupcakes, it was about a community reinvesting in its roots. "We should have a story time during the cupcake day, where people can share their memories," Sarah suggested, excitement bubbling in her voice. "Let's make it an experience." "Absolutely. That would bring everyone together." Jack felt the tension in his chest start to dissolve. The vision they were creating felt more real, more tangible with every passing moment. As the laughter and ideas flowed, Jack glanced around and met Sarah's eyes. There was a spark of something deeper there, a connection formed through shared dreams and hopes. Just then, Mr. Thompson entered, signaling it was time to finalize their proposals for the upcoming event. "All right, team. Let us showcase the heart behind our bakery and make it a day to remember." With those words, Jack felt a swell of determination. The challenge was huge, but so was the community. Every step they took together began to feel less daunting, but just as they prepared to take flight, a voice at the door drew everyone's attention. An unfamiliar figure stood silhouetted in the entrance, uncertainty etched on their face. It was a stranger, yet something about them felt like it belonged to this space. Jack's heart stumbled. Was this a new face of hope, or an omen of disruption? The figure at the door stepped into the light, revealing a woman with tousled hair and a warm but hesitant smile. She wore a threadbare sweater over faded jeans, as if she had wandered in from the outside world searching for something more. Jack felt the atmosphere shift. Curiosity mingled with unease. "Hello," she said softly, her voice almost swallowed by the hum of chatter. "I'm Emma. Welcome to Sweet Whisk." Jack replied, instinctively leaning toward her, wanting to alleviate her nervousness. "What brings you here today?" Emma hesitated, her gaze wandering to the bustling bakery. The vibrant colors of Sarah's chalkboard drawing caught her eye. "I heard about the cupcake day. My daughter loved it here," before her voice faded. Jack noticed the sparkle in her eyes momentarily dim. Before? He echoed gently, wanting to encourage her to share if she felt comfortable. It pained him to see her discomfort. She passed away last year. We used to come here every Saturday, Emma admitted, her words trembling. Jack felt his heart ache. The bakery had always been a space of joy, a refuge, even and here was a reminder of its profound impact. I'm so sorry, Jack said, sadness heavy in his voice. But you're welcome to share those memories here with us. We can honor her together. Tears glistened in Emma's eyes, and just for an instant, Jack saw a flicker of light return to her face. I'd like that. Sarah approached, quick to sense the emotions in the air. We're actually planning to dedicate a part of our cupcake day to sharing stories, she chimed in. Maybe you could share a cupcake flavor in her honor. What did she love? Chocolate, Emma whispered, a bittersweet smile creeping in. Chocolate cake with peanut butter frosting. Perfect. Sarah exclaimed, her excitement infectious. I love that combination. Let us make that flavor something special for the day. Jack watched as a connection blossomed. The bakery became a sanctuary not just for pastry but for memories too. Emma looked lighter as she talked about her daughter's favorite cupcakes, her voice growing steadier with each word. Sarah took notes, her enthusiasm wrapping around Emma like a warm hug. I remember when my daughter brought home a drawing of a cupcake, Emma continued. It had 10 different sprinkles and a smiley face. That swell of joy returned to Jack's heart. This was the sweetness they hoped to create, a space for healing, connection, and celebration of both old and new. We have a memory wall, and you could put up that drawing, Jack suggested. It could inspire others. Emma's eyes sparkled, a glimmer of hope breaking through her grief. That would mean so much to me. As the team worked together to finalize their plans, excitement bubbled in the room. But even among the buzz, Jack's mind was troubled. He understood Emma's pain now and knew there were many more like her walking into the bakery, perhaps seeking joy, but burdened with invisible scars. The door jingled as more customers flowed in. Each exchange reminded Jack that they were building something that wasn't just about cupcakes, it was about community. Jack! Sarah called out, pulling him back from his thoughts. We should create a special corner for stories on Cupcake Day. A cozy nook where people can share. Yes. That's an amazing idea, he responded, his mind racing with exciting possibilities. We could have a book where everyone writes their stories. Emma added, her eyes shining brighter now. Absolutely. Together, we can build something incredible, Jack said, a sense of urgency building. Just as the ideas ignited their passion, the door swung open again, and an unexpected visitor came in, an old man carrying a box. The sight of him sent ripples of tension through the room. Jack's heart quickened. What impact would this man bring? Would he be just another customer or a life-altering moment for the bakery? The old man shuffled in slowly, clutching the box like a treasure. His skin was weathered, those lines telling stories of laughter and heartache, a life well lived. The moment he stepped into the bakery, the atmosphere shifted from anticipation to curiosity. Everyone paused, their faces brightening with hope, like the sun breaking through dark clouds. Excuse me, the man spoke, his voice cracking softly. My name is Arthur. I used to come here all the time with my late wife. We were regulars. There was a fragile edge to his tone, a whisper of nostalgia filling the air. Welcome, Arthur, Jack responded, stepping forward to ease his arrival. We're glad you're here. With trembling hands, Arthur opened his box, revealing a collection of mismatched, old baking tools, a rolling pin, cookie cutters in various shapes, and a well-loved cookbook filled with crinkled pages and handwritten notes. I thought, maybe you could use these. My wife would have wanted to see this place thrive. She loved coming here. It was her joyful escape. A collective gasp rippled through the bakery. Jack felt warmth surge through him. This wasn't just a gesture, it was a part of their shared history, a bridge connecting generations through food and love. "Thank you, Arthur," Jack said, his voice thick with emotion. "We'll cherish these." Tears sparkled in Arthur's eyes as he gently placed the rolling pin in Jack's hands, the weight of it now a token of renewed hope. Just then, Emma leaned in towards the group. "Can we dedicate a cupcake flavor to him and his wife? Something special like a memory of love?" Jack smiled, feeling the momentum build again. "What about a love story cupcake, chocolate and peanut butter, just like you wanted?" He glanced at Emma, whose eyes shone. "Yes. And we can write a little story about the couple behind the flavor." Sarah chimed in, her excitement infectious. Jack could feel his heart swell with gratitude and joy. They were creating a tapestry of memories woven with the threads of their community. It was about more than cupcakes, it was about lives lived and the stories connecting them. The bakery buzzed with life as laughter and ideas unfolded, each suggestion more joyful than the last. The weight within Jack began to lift. He was no longer just preserving the past, they were revitalizing it and making it flourish. As the day of the event approached, the community transformed. Each neighbor's hands contributed, crafting decorations, sharing stories, and gathering ingredients needed for the upcoming bake-off. Together, they baked, shared, and laughed. The day finally arrived. Laughter echoed through the bakery, vibrant and full of life. Townsfolk flocked in, young and old, drawn together by the shared love of baking. "Look at all these cupcakes!" A young girl squealed, eyes wide with excitement. Jack stood at the entrance, his heart soaring as he watched them fill the bakery with joy. When he spotted Sarah, her laughter illuminating the room, he felt a rush of warmth. They forged something magical in the face of their struggles. As the time came for sharing stories, the little girl took to the microphone, her voice ringing clear and bright. "This place is filled with love. Let us share our memories." People began to stand, their voices intertwining a tapestry of heartfelt moments captured in every story shared. Arthur stood, telling of his beautiful wife and their visits. Emma shared about her daughter's favorite cupcake, and Jack shared about his love for baking with Mary. Each voice built upon the last, stirring emotions and inviting healing through connection. Jack looked around, heart bursting. They had become more than just a bakery, they were a family united. They had carved a space where every sweet treat held the weight of a story, every laughter echoed years of shared experiences. Finally, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of gold and pink, Jack stepped up to thank everyone. "This bakery is our soul. Every cupcake, every loaf, reflects the love we share together. You all are my inspiration, and today we've not only saved a bakery but reignited our sense of community." Thunderous applause erupted, filling the bakery with warmth and love. The businessman stood at the back, arms crossed but cautiously smiling at the magic unfolding before him. "Let us keep the spirit alive," Jack concluded, "not just today, but from now on. Together, we rise." Cheers erupted again, echoing through every nook and cranny of the cherished sweet whisk. As night descended, the bakery glimmered with laughter and connection. Jack felt a profound sense of peace settle over him. He wasn't just a lonely widower anymore, he had transformed into a father figure, a community leader, a friend. And in that moment, he understood that while the world around them may change, the things that truly mattered, the bonds of love, sharing stories, and celebrating life, would always hold their place at the heart of Sweet Whisk. The past had shaped them, but the present was a vibrant tapestry of hope. They would embrace both, hand in hand, forever. Now, let us keep this heartbeat strong. You need to subscribe now, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep the love alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about this beautiful ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.